So friends, Donald Trump's dirty DOJ officials are creeping closer and closer to being held in contempt of court. Let's talk about that, because justice matters. Hey all, Glenn Kirshner here. So friends, Donald Trump's DOJ attorneys are playing a dangerous game of chicken, which they ultimately will lose if they keep playing games with the chief judge of D.C. Federal District Court, Judge James Boasberg. Let's start with the new reporting. This from CBS News. Headline: Trump administration invokes state secrets privilege in deportation case. And that article begins, the Trump administration invoked a state secrets privilege Monday and refused to give a federal judge any additional information about the deportation of Venezuelan migrants to El Salvador under war authorities. U.S. District Judge James Boasberg is weighing whether the government defied his order to turn around planes carrying migrants after he blocked deportation of people alleged to be gang members without due process. It's a case that has become a flashpoint in the rising tension between the administration and the federal courts. Boasberg, the chief judge of the Federal District Court in Washington, has asked for details about when the planes landed and who was on board, information that the Trump administration asserts would harm diplomatic and national security concerns. Government attorneys also asked an appeals court on Monday to lift Boasberg's order and allow deportations to continue, a push that appeared to divide the judges. Circuit Court Judge Patricia Millett said Nazis detained in the U.S. during World War II received better legal treatment than Venezuelan immigrants who were deported to El Salvador this month under the same statute. Judge Millett is one of 3 appellate judges who will decide whether to lift a March 15 order temporarily prohibiting deportations under the Alien Enemies Act of 1798. They did not rule from the bench Monday. Okay, friends, let's break this one down. And you sure don't have to be a lawyer to see right through these idiotic arguments being made by Donald Trump's DOJ attorneys. First, the Trump administration snatched up and deported hundreds of Venezuelan immigrants without giving them their constitutionally guaranteed due process rights of notice and opportunity to be heard in court. So, naturally, Judge Boasberg issued a temporary restraining order directing that the planes that had just taken off, or perhaps hadn't even taken off yet, but certainly the ones that had taken off, be turned around, returned to the United States, so that the required, constitutionally guaranteed hearings could take place. And importantly, Judge Boasberg said you don't have to release anybody from your custody. You don't have to let these folks who you allege are dangerous gang members run around the streets of the United States. You just have to get them in the court so they can, have the constitutionally guaranteed due process rights of notice and opportunity to be heard. And what did the Trump administration say? Nope. So after being told nope, Judge Boasberg said, okay then, I'm going to need some additional information and evidence to decide if the Trump administration violated my court order. And the Trump administration said, nope, we're not providing you additional information. Why? Well, they said, These are all closely guarded state secrets, so we're going to invoke the state secrets doctrine regarding information about who was on the planes, when the planes took off, and when the planes landed. Friends, do you see how idiotic those claims are by Trump's DOJ attorneys? Let's put it to the test. Hundreds of Venezuelan immigrants know when they were snatched up and unconstitutionally stuffed into those planes. They know when those planes took off. They know when those planes landed. Flight crews know when those planes took off, when those planes landed. Ground crews know when those planes took off and when those planes landed. Folks at various airfields know when the planes took off and landed. And indeed, hundreds and hundreds of folks in El Salvador know when those planes landed and who was on those planes, because they are now being held in a prison in El Salvador. Why are Venezuelan immigrants being held in El Salvador? Well, the reporting is that because the El Salvadoran government agreed to pay the Trump administration money to house these Venezuelan immigrants. So friends, hundreds and maybe thousands of people know the answers to these basic questions. Who was on the planes? When did they take off? When did they land? Those are not closely guarded state secrets. But still, Donald Trump's DOJ lawyers said all of those other people can know these things, but we're not telling you, Judge Boasberg, so you can assess whether we should be held in contempt of court for intentionally violating your order. Friends, can I tell you just some of Judge Boasberg's responsibilities and authority as the Chief Judge of the Federal District Court in Washington, D.C. Supreme Court Chief Justice John Roberts appointed him, Judge Boasberg, to the United States Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Court, the FISC, in 2014, and he served as the presiding judge of the FISC from 2020 to 2021. Here's the most important part for our discussion today, friends. In 2020, Judge Boasberg was appointed to the United States Alien Terrorist Removal Court and designated chief judge. What is the United States Alien Terrorist Removal Court, you might ask? The U.S. Alien Terrorist Removal Court is a special court in the United States created in 1996. It consists of 5 Article III judges selected by the Chief Justice of the United States. Its job is to determine whether aliens, non-citizens, should be deported from the United States on the grounds that they are terrorists. You know, friends, judges who serve in the kind of positions that Judge Boasberg is serving in presently typically have some of our nation's highest level security clearances. They can hear this kind of information, and they can hear this kind of information behind closed doors. Ex parte, in camera, fancy legal terms. Ex parte just means the judge can hear this information and evidence from the DOJ attorneys, and the judge can exclude the attorneys who represent these Venezuelan immigrants whose constitutional rights were violated. They can just hear it ex parte. One party present, the prosecutors, at least for openers, they can hear it in camera. What does that mean? Back in chambers, in a closed, secure, controlled environment with only the DOJ lawyers there. No, the public does not have access. The media does not have access. So to say that Chief Judge Boasberg, who's also the Chief Judge of the Alien Terrorist Removal Court, just can't hear this kind of information about when planes took off, when planes landed and who was on those planes is just absolutely absurd. Here's a crazy theory, friends. Maybe these DOJ attorneys don't want to tell Judge Boasberg that information because it would make it clear that they violated his court order and should be held in contempt. Well, you know what, friends? I have a feeling Judge Boasberg will get to the bottom of what happened here, what the U.S. government did to these Venezuelan immigrants. Because justice matters. Friends, as always, please stay safe. Please stay tuned. And I look forward to talking with you all again tomorrow.